Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, the show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and today we're talking about Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War Definitive Edition, a game that was recently released that is a collection of the original Dawn of War, all of the expansions wrapped up with some nice new tweaks to make it quite literally the Definitive Edition. So what does it actually add? Because I think the main thing for this version of the game is that it has all the expansions, which is really, really cool. That's the original game and the free expansions, all the campaigns, basically. But there were other upgrades added to it. So it's technically a remaster. But it is a bit light on content for a remaster. So just to give you an idea, this is what was added in. So you've got upgraded lighting and upgraded textures across the board, both in terms of lighting on the models, lighting in the actual maps. The textures are cleaner and they're at 4K now and higher resolutions. They increased the camera zoom out, so now you can zoom the camera further out. You can see more of the battlefield. There's a bigger draw distance, which I'll be honest, that to me that is the best thing they added. In the original game now, it's quite hard to see a lot of what's going on screen because it's so close in. They added pathfinding upgrades, which is always a pleasant addition to older RTS games because they usually have some issues with pathfinding, and to be honest, I've not had any issues, so they've obviously done a good job of that. They've also added in a mod manager and made sure that the system works with the mods because there's like 20 years of mods for this game that people like using. And so for that reason, like, you can see that it is a slightly lighter remaster. It's not like some games. It's not like Command & Conquer Remaster or even like Age of Mythology Retold, where there's a bit more other things put in. But the thing with Dawn of War 1 was it's already a really good game that didn't need a lot to it. However, I am very pleased to see that these upgrades have really elevated that experience. The good thing is that you've got all the factions in the game. You have the skirmish mode, you've got the multiplayer, all of that's intact. If you own the anniversary editions to Dawn of War 1, I believe that this was, I don't know if it still is, on offer, so you can get it fairly cheap. It wasn't too expensive for me. I think it was about £12, which is more than reasonable for already a very good game, but with a game of upgrades. Now, if you've never played Dawn of War 1, it's an RTS game based in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Hopefully that's obvious enough. But it was very, very good at the time. It was considered very good because of how the game worked. It was basically each faction had similarities. All the factions kind of play similar. Like, you know, you have your light infantry, your heavy infantry, your vehicles, and you have different buildings and different upgrades, and then you smash your armies together. Now, there was differences between the teams that you played. They would, like, if you play as the Space Marines, for example, who were like the main team in it, was that each of your Space Marine squads they were kind of jack of all trades, where you could kind of be like, oh, I've got a big squad, I need them to specifically focus on breaking enemy morale, give them flamethrowers. Or you're like, I really need something that's anti-vehicle, anti-building, give them rocket launchers. And the thing with Space Marines was they're fairly easy to use, they're fairly easy to understand. But as the games went on, you had other teams. I think in the original, you had Space Marines, Orcs, Eldar, and someone else. Maybe I think it was Chaos. And then you got added in Necrons and Imperial Guards and Dark Eldar and Sisters of Battle. And to a point, you got all these different teams, Towers and all these different teams to play as. And it's, I mean, in terms of balance, I don't know how they would balance a game like this back in the day. Like, most RTS games now would never have more than about 3 teams in it at that. But for the most part, the game gives a lot of option, a lot of choice. Like, there are certain people I like playing as, certain people I don't like playing as, but a lot of choice. But what makes this Definitive Edition so cool is the fact that all the campaigns are here. Now, you have the original campaign from the first Dawn of War, which is focusing on the Blood Ravens, which is the Space Marines. The second campaign, which is Winter Assault, focuses on Imperial Guard, Eldar, Orcs, and Chaos, I believe. And then after that, you have Dark Crusade and Soulstorm, which are both what they call non-linear campaigns. And what that basically is Dark Crusade is a big old map, and you pick who you want to play as, and then you decide to attack different areas and factions, and you're trying to wipe the other factions off the map to win. which is one of my favourites. I think it's considered a lot of people's favourites out of all the campaigns. And then Soulstorm did that the same, but I know Soulstorm was the game that got the most amount of hate towards it. I think people found it over unbalanced or didn't enjoy the campaign. I know I struggled with the campaign back in the day. I haven't actually tried it in this, but because this package puts everything together and it has those upgrades, I genuinely think this is a really nice way to get in. If you've never played Dawn of War 1, this is a really good way to get into it. It is by far the best of the free games. Dawn of War 2 is very different, but is also a fantastic game in its own right, but it isn't the traditional RTS that Dawn of War 1 is, where you build buildings, and you build armies, and you go and fight. In this day and age, I will say that sometimes when you get a remaster like this, it can feel a little lackluster compared to some of the other remasters that are going on at the moment. We're going sort of through this renaissance of RTSs getting remasters. The original Command & Conquer Red Alert both got a remaster. StarCraft 1 got a remaster. Stronghold Definitive Edition came out. We've obviously got this, Age of Mythology. And I will say that some of these games, like if you look at Stronghold Definitive Edition, they added in a ton of new content versus this game, which is more like, hey, we didn't really want to touch the game. We wanted to make it run on modern systems with the mods that you've come to like, with the ability to run on newer systems in terms of like 4K visuals and make it cleaner, clear it up, all that kind of thing. And I think that they've done a good job there. But I do think compared to some other remasters, it's not as full on as it could be. They could have gone maybe an extra step here or there, but I'm also like, well, it might have been a fairly small budget to do this, and I think the end result is actually pretty good. And as someone who enjoys Dawn of War 1 a lot, it's nice to be able to just jump back into this knowing that it works and I can play people on Steam and there's no issue. And overall, it's just a nice little package, and it's not too expensive, which is the main thing. Like a lot of these games that are coming out, they're not that expensive. They're in the range of about £15 to £25 in the UK, which to me is like budget price anyway. So the fact that I can play these older games with these nice additions, this like everything's conveniently in one place, I'm more than happy to pay for it. I hope that they do actually do Dawn of War 2 as well like that, because that would be super cool if they went back and did that one, because that game, like I said, is also very good. But if you are somebody looking to play an RTS game, if you are somebody looking for something to play that is an older game or is, you know, just something different, then I would recommend this. If I had one criticism, I would say that the models still look kind of naff in today's day and age, in the sense that like when you get close-ups in the models and the cutscenes and things like that, they don't look particularly amazing. But they weren't planning on doing like stupidly like it's not. This isn't a full-blown remake. If it was a full-blown remake, I would expect that. This isn't. And one thing I have noticed playing at some of the teams in this game, that some of the units do look very similar. So like, if you take, there's a couple of different Necron units that look very similar. Even just playing it, I'm like, oh yeah, I've got to actually pay attention to what I'm looking at here. But these are only small minor gripes on a game that is, or a package that is actually very good and very good value for money. And I do recommend that people go and play it. Like I said, I'm enjoying it. It's fun to jump back into this world. I do like the Warhammer world. I'd love to see, well, we are seeing it, aren't we? We're getting a Dawn of War 4 coming soon, and that's meant to be more based on the first game, which is great. That's what I like to hear. Can't wait to play that. Hopefully that's really good. But yeah, this is just something, it's just a smaller video. I've been playing this game. This is a good package. I had one bug, which they fixed literally an hour later, so I've not really run into anything else. I've not had any crashes. I've not had any like seriously game-breaking bugs. I know that they're patching and fixing in a few audio things here and there, but for the most part, this runs absolutely fine with no issues. And just remember, it is a slightly older game, and it is a bit more of a basic remaster than maybe that some people might be used to with other games with more content and things being added to it. But 2 thumbs up for me. Would recommend it. Go play this game. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, that's going to do it for me today then, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you like the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more content, maybe on RTS, maybe on other things, hit the subscribe button. Stick around. And until next video, I will see you then.